Jeff.
Excellent. Morning, everybody. How are you? Anybody who's not mic'd or caffeinated? Remember that you can always throw something into the chat whenever you want, and we will get it into discussion if you can't turn your mic on. Good morning, Laura.
Good morning.
How's it going?
It's good.
I want to hear from any of the 8 of you who are here who want to be chatty. What is on your plate this week? What is going on at your library?
Well, we had our staff in service day yesterday, which went well. We had speakers. We learned CPR. We had a speaker from the League of Women Voters.
Okay.
That was interesting. And then we also had a speaker from the Autism Alliance that came out and talked to us about autistic patrons. So it was really good. We had a great day.
Do you have any takeaways from it? How does everyone in this room feel about in-services? Uh-oh. I'm already getting you to gossip. Good morning, Cheryl. Is anyone here amongst the smallish group of us going to the MLA annual conference?
I have staff attending, but not me this year.
Okay. I noticed there was a session happening there about mastering your message to the media. And that, from what I'm going to glean, is the presenters are going to be probably telling an audience full of possibly mostly library directors how to talk to the media. That is something we have talked about in this building. Has anyone else in this room, virtually, done that in your buildings? Has that been a topic?
We have a policy.
Okay, that counts.
I know they have in the past, but that was before I was here. So there was some controversy.
Oh, speaking of controversy, did we even cover library bug gate in the last meeting that we were here? Anybody hear about Royal Oak and Oak Park?
Yeah. Kind of a PR nightmare.
Exactly that, yeah. Does anybody have any thoughts and feelings about that? It's kind of a hot topic. But it's also kind of like, well, we are all public spaces, and a lot of different humans come in touching all this stuff. You don't exactly want to talk about it, but it's inevitable, right? Morning, everyone who just came in. I want to hear from you. I want to hear how it's going at your library, what you're working on currently, even if it's just the boring, mundane stuff. If it's your newsletter, if you're stuck, if you need some inspiration, if you have any questions, if you are banging your head against the wall, or if you just came up with something really cool, I want to hear from you, or I'll start calling on you. I will be a mean substitute. Adam, I know you can hear me. I know you're chatty. You must be muted. You got something going on? What's up?
Oh, Jeff. I'm still waking up.
Oh, come on, have some coffee.
Going back to your other question earlier about dealing with the media, we have a whole procedure that we have to follow that, like, every time, whether it's a reporter or some sort of news outlet contacts us, we have to send it up the chain of command to the office of I forget what it's specific called. It's government and public affairs. Because anytime that like the department has anybody talking with the media, we have to alert them.
Yeah.
Or like when we put out press releases or any of that type of stuff, there's a full press releases for us. Like it can take up to 30 days just for it to get out because it has to go through that
Wow.
chain.
Yeah, what you think?
And even to the point now, the current superintendent of instruction for MDE wants to look at every press release before it goes out and put his like 2 cents into it.
Sure.
So
It sounds intensive, but it probably also is the way to do it, you know?
at least you have a clear voice that's going out, and you know that you've had multiple people look at something before it hits the wire. Because the last thing you want is something going out, and you're like, oh, that word could be interpreted the wrong way.
Right.
But the funny one most recently was the use of the word noir, because we
Oh,
have uh, a photo exhibit that's up that deals with photographs from Detroit in the 50s and late 40s, and it has a very noir type look. But apparently, the word noir can also be interpreted something differently, which
okay.
I never knew. And so we had to, I think we still use the word, but whether it was used in a different context had to be like figured out and explained a bit better in the press release.
We deal with little words every day. Got to be
Yeah.
careful. So
Yep.
you weren't using the phrase film noir. I guess they
I'll have to look up how it was explained in the email that came back about it, because
okay.
but it was meant to convey that the way I look at it, like if you watched Road to Perdition, that
Mhm.
movie, it has that kind of noir type of throwback feel to it,
Totally.
and that's where what our approach was.
Uh, Heather is currently juggling a new book Tuesday posting. That is something I think a lot of us do. Heather, I know you're in the chat, but are you doing anything creative with it? Are you posing the book somewhere in the library? Are you getting cinematic with your approach, with your camera phone and everything? Are you just using Canva? Again, I want to hear what everyone's up to. What are you doing in your library? Are you making a TikTok today? What's going on? Are you using AI today? Thoughts on AI? I got plenty of questions. Let's keep chatting.
Well, I have a question for the group. We
Yeah.
are interested in starting sending out like a welcome packet to people that are newly moved in to our area. We're not really sure where to get those addresses from, though. Is that something we would get from the township, or
Yeah.
any suggestions?
I don't know about what you would do when it comes to a packet, but I know that for our print newsletter that we send out to every single porch, which is First Impressions, is the company, they take care of all of that.
Yep, we use First
I make the
Impressions.
magic. I
Mhm.
make the magic, and then I give it to them, and then they just take it to the post office. And it is as simple as like it doesn't have an address on it. It just says library patron. It has the library logo, and the mail carriers just take it around. But what are you envisioning? Something contained, an envelope, a gift basket? What is it going to look like? Is it going to be,
Well, we were actually thinking maybe a half-page sized
how about gift baskets? Let's do it.
postcard.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, a gift get that'd be wonderful, but we were thinking more like a
Sure.
postcard. Welcome to the
Okay.
neighborhood. Here's some stuff we have going on. Stop in and get a card, that kind of thing. Just
Holy moly, Adam in the chat. Okay, great. Thank you for the context. Okay. But yeah, Laura, we just sent out a postcard as well, and it was first impressions, and they took care of all of that, and it went to everybody. So,
We do a newsletter that does go out to everybody, but we were looking to target more the new people in town.
mhm.
But maybe First Impressions can get that list for us as well.
I
Yeah.
don't know if they could. They might just be scattershot. Morning, Richard.
Hey, so this is my first of these, so I'm quiet, partly because I'm undercaffeinated and partly to listen first.
Oh, sure.
For this thing, we were cold called by a company called Unique for this very thing to put together like a new to the area postcard, and they own those addresses, or they work with some sort of, they mentioned it like what it's called, where people do the change of address.
Yeah.
And that'll trigger the the postcard send. We've also we have a vendor in town here in Ann Arbor called Print Tech. And they also have just addresses. And
Oh,
so
goodness.
we've worked with them to do mailers where we can either sort of define something, and they'll pull the addresses for that, or like those companies sort of like own the lists. And so those are two examples that we've used.
Thank you.
Yeah, Megan in the chat seconds that. Unique management. We were using them for like sad reasons back when we were a grouchy library, and we were sending out like sort of strongly worded letters about people who lost items. But now we don't anymore. Now we're a super chill library. No fees or fines or anything. Anyone else in the room got something on their plate? Something they're struggling with? Something they're excited about? Even if it's a Halloween costume? Are you working on a Halloween post? What is going on out there? Talk to me. The radio lines are open. I'm Fraser Crane. I want to hear what's going on.
The next poet laureate will probably be announced in about a month or two.
Okay.
So we've got the list narrowed down, I think, to 3 people, and they're doing the final sort of checks and getting that passed on to those who make the final decision. So hopefully we'll have something announced in hopefully November or maybe early December related to that.
Okay.
So
And Library of Michigan does a lot of posts like that. You also do posts for Michigan notable folks. You like
Yep.
to support local writers.
yes, and the first meeting I think today is for narrowing the way they kind of work it with the notable books list is they first figure out like what are the top like 10 for sure that they know that they want to put on the list, and that meeting is going to be taking place today, and then next month they'll narrow down the next 5, and then that last meeting in December will get the final lists solidified. So come mid-January we should have all those out. But if there is any authors in your area that are like getting something still published in the next month or two, try to get that to us so that it can be under consideration.
Mhm. Whoa. Megan, put in the chat, which library are you coming from? You mentioning a branch and a popular family fright night.
Yeah, so I
What
work for Branch District Library.
Okay.
So we're 6 branches in Branch County. So Coldwater, Quincy, Sherwood, Bronson, Union Township, and Algansey. 2 of our branches are very small. One of them's housed in a back of a it's in like an Amish country, and it's housed in the back
Okay.
of like a little kind of old-timey grocery store. I can't think of my
Okay,
words
wow.
this morning, sorry. But it's a super adorable little building. And we do a family fright night, so it's housed in our largest branch, which is the Coldwater branch. And we have this year we are kind of scaling it back. So in the basement we're doing a big glow maze, and the basement's like our teen space. So we'll have a glow maze and then a dance party on the first floor and trick-or-treating throughout everything. And the kids' floor is on the very top, which is our fourth floor. And we'll have a gentleman called Scoop the Balloonatic. I don't know if anybody else knows Scoop. He'll make a lot of balloon animals for kids, and then we have take crafts this year instead of stay and make crafts. And then we have some to-go games as well. So pretty excited about it.
Okay.
And that's on the 25th. And then they do the next day is like the big countywide Halloween parade. So we got in when we could to do something fun.
Great.
But yeah.
You create video content for that?
Yeah, I try to really just do mostly like funny little videos and then remind people that Fright Night's coming up. So like videos about decorating the library or videos about like, and then this year also we have a very large heritage room in our in the Coldwater branch. And so they're going to do spooky storytelling and talk about some spooky history in Branch County and do mocktails. And so I'll probably do a video around like all the different like hauntings that people have talked about in our libraries and stuff like that. So.
Oh, that's great. Does anybody else in here have a haunted library? I literally just finished a story for WDET about the Detroit Public Library being haunted. Stay tuned.
We have a haunted library. I'm actually from Cromaine District Library in Heartland.
Okay.
And we actually, we also administer a 167-year-old music hall as a part of our property here. So we have a lot of haunted stories. We actually have 3 tours we do of haunted history at Halloween time. And actually, I'm going to be doing some video tomorrow of our docent in the library who talks about that and is really passionate about that. So I'm really excited to be making some content about the spooky season for people who are into the paranormal.
Awesome. That's awesome. Also, Megan, we missed out on a good chance for like a comedy bit. I was like, what branch do you work at? Branch. That was great. We've gone back and forth for a few more minutes.
I have a question for the group.
Yeah.
I'm new. I've only been at my role here in this library for about 1.5 years, and I'm actually not a librarian. I don't know if all of you are librarians by trade and just marketing is your thing, or if you're marketing people, but my background was more in like the outreach and community engagement piece of this role. So my director took a leap of faith in hiring me because marketing is not really my jam. I think we're holding our own, but I feel like that's an area I joined this group because I'm really eager to learn from people who might know more than I do or have great ideas that I could pattern something after. One of the questions I have is, I know that there are some pieces of software or some technology that you can purchase that will work with your registry of patrons, if you will, and suck out kind of like high level demographic information to help you make sort of like demographics of who's who in your library.
Yes.
Anybody working with any of those and have some suggestions, because we've budgeted the money to spend on that, but I don't really have any like great ideas of what pieces could be used.
Who wants to answer that question first? If not, I will. Are you talking about have you heard of Savannah? It's something that you could use to generate newsletters, but so much more. I believe what you want to Google is Savannah Orange Boy might be the product that you're looking for, or vice versa. But they'll render all of that, all those demographics for you, including like census data that I can't even understand right now. And you'll be able to actually just pull out what they call clusters of, let's say, your newest card holders. You can send them cute little welcome messages, or you can send messages to just the parents who are checking out picture books, or just the people who check out movies. It's all library card connected. A little pricey, but I don't know. But I think Cromaine can handle it.
So is that opt-in, like when a person receives a library card, like do you have some verbiage saying like, we're going to email you, that's why we're taking this email, that allows you to do that direct communication?
For the newsletter aspect, yes. But you can also just use Savannah and Orange Boy just to look at your data without bugging them if you want. But for newsletter, they have to opt in. That's how we handle that, yeah. Because we don't want to be bugging them if they don't want us to bug them.
So for example, if you were to pull a cluster and you wanted to like look at people who are checking out picture books because you think maybe that's the demographic that would be interested in a new program offering,
Mhm.
like, is it legit to put some sort of verbiage in their library card application that says like, hey, we're gonna email you, or like, is that
Or
considered?
check this box if you'd like updates. You know? Yeah.
We skipped that step. I think everybody that, we leave a spot for email address, and I think people assume if we're asking for an email address, we're probably going to send them something.
Yeah.
And we just send it out and give them the option to opt out. And so we don't have to go through each application and decide who checked yes, who checked no. So that
Right.
has been pretty successful for us.
I feel like I like that more.
Yeah.
It's terrible, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at the bottom of all my newsletters is a very tiny unsubscribe button, but they don't click it that often. I guess they like us. Anybody else got anything? Questions for the group? Anyone doing anything else for, how about this? I'd love to hear if anyone in here is working on the social media aspects in their library. How, I mean, Heather, you mentioned just talking, posting about books. How is kind of your balance lately of promoting events versus promoting resources and services? Is it 50-50? Is it kind of top heavy? I'll give my own anecdotal evidence. Like, I was pushing so hard for events because our attendance was struggling, but now attendance is perfect and everyone seems to love everything we're doing. And that's like, I can break out of that habit. Now I can focus on the books again. It's kind of fun. Anyone else thoughts on that? On what your daily, monthly calendar looks like as far as social media content?
We just initiated a rotating schedule. We were finding that some of our services, we would promote them heavily when they were new, and then they would kind of fall off the face of the earth on our social media. Library of Things, when that was new, lots of posts, here's what we got, and then kind of fizzles out. So we established, we use monday.com, established a schedule to make sure we're not forgetting these things. So quarterly, each item is brought back to life for a couple of posts, a couple of social media posts, and so things aren't forgotten. And I've been surprised how much engagement they've gotten. So that's working well.
Mm-hmm. Heather mentioned it's currently events focused. Anyone else have ideas or theories or philosophies or approaches to promoting things like online resources? Like, I'll even just put it on the table. We have more luck when we make something a little more exciting for those kind of sort of technically maybe not exciting things, like, hey, it's creative bug, and like a static image might not get engagement, but if it's like a human face talking to you about how amazing it is that you can get a library card and use this, then the human on the other side of the phone might be like, I didn't know my library did that. You know what I mean? Okay. Megan, all right, focusing on library things, nice. Anybody, I know it's a small group, anybody in this room have millages looming? Big things on the horizon? Stressful things? We're about a year and a half away, so it's coming to our minds. So I'm going to be starting to use social media to almost make more narrative posts about library history, how great the staff is, just a charm offensive kind of a thing, telling our story. But Megan, if you want to put it in the chat, I'd love to hear more about how you're going to approach your campaign to boost circulation for the Library of Things. If you've got any ideas there.
So actually, it's
Yeah.
really simple. I made.
You're not going to reinvent the wheel?
I'm not. This sounds awful. I know.
Yeah.
But I've made a couple videos in the past, just funny little, videos of different employees using Library of Things. And I'm gonna do some of those. So, like our big block Jenga and all that fun stuff. But really, I just made a ton of flyers, and I'm gonna resize them and post about it. And just hopefully, if I post, I'm hoping that, posting at least once a week, twice a week, because we have so many pieces that are awesome, that it'll reignite that excitement around our Library of Things, because we circulated all of that stuff so much when when the Library of Things first came out. And I think people just sometimes they forget, right? Their memory is shorter. But yeah, I'm excited about that. We have a bookmobile coming too. It's almost here. So a little bit of my energy is or a lot of my energy is gonna go to that too. So it's exciting.
That's exciting. That is exciting. I love how you phrase that. It's almost here. Like it's kind of like it's currently driving toward you right now.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. But I'm anticipating it, and everybody's been really excited, and so it'll be good.
Great. Heather, you mentioned your youth department is making some fun TikToks. Is it just sort of like a couple of people and they are gung-ho about being on camera, or is it more than two people? Is it they got a thing worked out? Do they go around the library and get everybody to be in the video? That's a whole thing. Put it in the chat if you don't want to unmute, Heather. I'm just curious. Anybody else here dabbling in TikToks? Richard, TikToks? I know you're new here. Are you dabbling? Are you dabbling in anything, Richard?
We are not on TikTok. Due to some of the privacy stuff, plus
Sure.
but we put our energies into reels. So we'll do our Instagram reels. We finished our summer game. It feels like just a minute ago, but I guess it was a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
We did a lot of reels during there, and then we've had some big events come up. We had a indie small press festival a couple weekends ago. We had a John Hodgman event here, Judge John Hodgman podcast recording.
Wow.
A reel for
Ann Arbor. Such an exciting library to work at.
It's fun.
With your Library of Things and your 15 guitars. Wait, yeah, are you at the main branch, Richard?
Yes, my office is downtown. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. I'm jumping around, but Liz actually wanted to go back to the whole outreach thing. Does anybody else here kind of find their marketing mission having some bit of mission creep where you kind of blur into that? Because I can 1000% relate to that.
So in my library, it's not so much mission creep as that I am all those things. Like I got little hats, right? So I have to do a lot of community relations things. I sit on a lot of like local collaboratives. And that was my background coming in. Like, so marketing was like the piece of the puzzle that I was like, I'll figure this out.
Sure.
And it wasn't a wreck when I arrived. So that piece we kind of kept things stable because what was happening was okay. But I feel like we can grow it, make it better. But I go to meetings and part of so many committees and like groups, and like I'm outside my library a ton.
Yeah. Yeah. And Heather, yeah, heck yeah, I can relate to that. Selling our services one-on-one in person. You can actually see the results right there. It's a lot better than a little heart on your Instagram post, isn't it? Yeah. Because I was gonna say, is anyone else planning anything for Halloween? Because we are doing a pop-up thing at a local coffee shop. We're doing mobile library card sign up and story times during the weekend right before Halloween, while that coffee shop is doing a whole day of Halloween centric events, Halloween vendors, probably lots of hay bales, pumpkin carving, etc. So we're kind of, we're kind of hopping onto that, instead of doing something big here. Anybody else doing anything at their library? Anything Halloween?
And the goal of doing it this way is eventually we're gonna be able to create a list.
We are starting we called it a Treats and Trails. It's a community event out at the local park. The park actually has a tree library that we were a part of. So it has a 1/3 of a mile paved path through this little trees. Local community organizations and businesses can set up a decorated booth and pass out treats. They can't sell anything, anything like that. It's just a free community event for the kids. Family-friendly costumes, pets are welcome, and it's just for fun. It's not
Okay.
really. So this is our first year. We're hoping to make this an annual event. And so far this year, we have gotten some wonderful response from the community. One group, the Lions Club, is doing a whole Wizard of Oz with the yellow brick road and the whole thing. So it should be a lot of fun. Super dependent on the weather, which makes me really nervous. But other than that, I think it's going to be a really great community connection kind of a thing for businesses and organizations and patrons and us. And so I'm anxious to see how it goes.
And Richard, and then maybe also Megan, I hate to keep calling on you guys, but I don't know how many other people here are at a smaller library like I am, but I wonder what your experiences are like being at either a very big library like Ann Arbor, and what is that like adjusting to that, or having multiple branches? How do you approach something like that? How do you keep it all focused and balanced? Is it overwhelming? Do you want to vent? Can you handle it? Is it easy? Richard, thoughts?
Sure. And this is not specific to Halloween now, right? This is
yeah, but you can share on Halloween, please. We want to hear both. That's an A and B question. Tell us about Halloween first, then answer.
Oh, no, I mean, so a lot of my job, and you mentioned this before, Jeff, with event, a lot of what we do is promote events. So we've got a separate events team that works with populating the online calendar, and then we do monthly brochures. And so we've got deadlines, like today actually is the deadline for December. Anything not in today cannot be an event for December or past there. So that gives us a chance to plan everything logistically, to get manuscripts ready for our brochures, and then to plan which are the events that we're going to promote and create. We've got some in-house graphic designers. So which ones are we going to do graphics for, share with our partners, whoever are doing events throughout the system. I don't have to worry so much about, which is nice, the planning and then the staffing of all of the events that are at all 5 locations. And we try and spread things out. There are sort of like blocks that the events team fills with X number of events throughout the system. And then we promote, we promote things that have partners or are just bigger events. Part of the partner thing is just to be a good partner. If you're going to you're bringing your event to the library, we're going to do our best to help you if you're an author or a musician or I don't know, community partner from U of M, whatever. So for us, it's just like the events team helps set that giant calendar, and then we cherry pick from there. And then that's what leads the core of our promotion for a particular month.
Okay. Is any scaled down from something connected to John Hodgman or bigger names that Ann Arbor might draw. Does anyone else have even more hyper-local or local or smaller or independent artists, bands, or authors or author fairs come to the library? And do you ever have the necessary yet slightly difficult conversation of like asking them to also help promote? Is that a thing? That might be too specific of a question for such a small group. But we like to partner with the people who are coming to the library and kind of ask them to help promote it too, for whatever that's worth. Because it can be hard to draw people to the library. Anyone? Thoughts, questions? Does anybody else have any more questions for the group?
We get asked in terms of promotion.
Yeah.
Ann Arbor's not, we don't have a lot of local media. Like I'm using here, I'll just put the video on so you can see the big air quotes, like local media. Like
Yeah.
there's MLive, the Ann Arbor News is stretched pretty thin.
Mhm.
We do have the Observer, which is a monthly publication that does some online stuff. We've got
Do you
the
still have
Current.
the Current?
Yeah, got Current, Concentrate. So we have little things here and there all about
You guys
Ann Arbor.
have Pulp.
We have our internal, we have our internal arts and entertainment blog.
Because you're so cool.
But there's not a ton, and so I feel a little bad when a partner comes to us and expects that there's like a press release. Like a
Oh,
press
sure.
release is an email. It's an email
Yeah.
I send to a list of maybe 50 emails of people locally, or I don't know, some of the radio stations and things.
Right.
But that's not where we get a lot of pickup. We get pickup from communities and from like the audience. And so we had somebody he'd written a book on I guess the 50th anniversary of the kidnapping of Patty Hearst, and had asked for a press release and a lot. And I tried to help, but like there's a lot going on in general
Mhm.
in Ann Arbor day to day, and there's just not a lot of media, and so nobody picked it up.
Sure.
Unfortunately, and the turnout was fine, but that wasn't relying on us for that is a little hit or miss for something like that. Now, if you come to us with something that's goofy or like super entertaining, it's much easier for us
Sure.
to put the word out, to have a cat craft or something like that, and then we fill up. But a pretty niche author with a niche book can
Yep.
be a little trickier.
Yeah. Whenever we're deciding on what program submissions to accept, we have our niche radar on. Is only 10 people going to come to this? We won't want that. Or less. You guys, it's almost Halloween. That means the year itself is literally almost over. Does anyone do big end of the year posts, end of the year content? Get your librarians to generate best of their favorite books, maybe. Maybe a photo montage. Anything like that? Or not like that?
We've done what's been super popular for us has been our staff picks. So we have staff send whatever they've been into that particular year. It doesn't have to have come out that year. And we release it through Pulp, through our arts and entertainment blog. It's by far the most read thing that we put out. And I think everybody's looking for recommendations. And we just ask staff to send it all in, and then our Pulp team curates it all. We ask for the deadline to come. I believe we do late November, and then they have a couple weeks to put everything together and release it. And I think we do books, screens, video game. Like we break it down a little bit so that people can, every day we release a different one. And that's been really popular.
That's excellent. That reminds me, I have to book the podcast episode where I'll have librarians come on and just talk on the mic about favorite books. And Megan does a yearly wrap up of most circulated items and then a video of what, I do that too. I do a video of all the fun we had, which is hopefully effective. Not so much in a, hey, were you not here for this? Don't have FOMO, but like just come next year because there'll be more stuff kind of way if you missed
Oh
it.
yeah,
If
for
you
sure.
missed it. Yeah,
Or how fun, look at how fun it is to be at the library.
in general, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because you never know, there might be like visiting nature center and they'll bring a sloth. Could be exciting. Or there could be a craft, or there could be a band. All right. It's my last call for questions. You have other marketing brains in the room with you. No pressure on the students who haven't contributed to the class yet. Do you have anything, Liz?
I have another question. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just trying to pick your brains.
Yeah.
So because we sometimes have musical acts out, small and large, we do a summer concert series on the lawn, but we have like a community room where we do sort of more like intimate musicians, like a cellist and a pianist will come sometimes. And but I have kind of gotten inspired by the candlelight concerts that are happening. And so I bought 400 LED candles, and we're gonna have love songs through the ages in super late January to like kind of hype like a Valentine's Day vibe with a candlelight concert. Has
That sounds
anybody
amazing.
ever done something like that?
That
I have
sounds
no idea
amazing.
what-
No. What are you talking about? I'm already jealous, and we all want to top of that. That sounds great. What are you talking about?
I just want to know like clever ways to promote it. Like, how do I get the word
Oh.
out beyond just like the patrons that already know everything we do?
I mean, my mind is initially going to like the right kind of nostalgia triggering aesthetic on a Canva flyer might just do that. If you're talking about love songs through the ages, I'm already picturing like sort of vintage 90s Celine Dion kind of energy. Or what is that song? Is it literally just called Baby? That's trending on TikTok. You could go onto your Instagram and just get 15 seconds of that soundbite, make a reel. What is it going to look like? Are you just playing the music through like a Bluetooth speaker, or you're going to have someone perform it?
Oh no, we're gonna have a cellist. We have just like a husband and wife team that are a
Okay.
cellist and a pianist, and we have a grand piano over in the hall, so we are gonna have it in that venue. But we've had them
Okay.
perform here to a limited response. But I feel like I don't know. I just sort of feel like I've been wanting to go to a candlelight concert. That seems like a real vibe. And I thought, well, we have the space and we have the artists and they're
Man.
very affordable. So like, let's just buy some LED lights and make it a thing. But they're
So they're probably going to do more classical stuff. My brain instantly went to like this 90s nostalgia. Love ballads, you know? But so you want to go, you, what's up, Laura?
Oh, I was just gonna say, everyone loves food. If you include some sort of, something, is it for families or just adults or?
my thought was kind of like date night. I'm not going to chase any kids away, but I kind of thought I might aim it more towards like, since it's love songs and it's classical music and it's candlelight, I thought maybe more adult vibe.
Some sort of refreshments might. People always like that. I was gonna say maybe a surprise, not even a surprise, but Santa might show up kind of a thing if it's for kids, but if you're aiming for adults.
Yeah, and this is actually going to be like more closer to Valentine's Day. It's going to be like tail end of January, last week of January.
Well,
So if Santa showed up at that would just be weird.
That
I
would be
think
weird.
that the light and candle energy is going to be something you want to focus on. That's something whenever I see that promoted is just sort of the dazzling visual of it. So you may or may not want to unbox like as many of them as you can without making too much of a mess and do a close-up sort of pan of it. Set to some music. I don't know. Have you gotten the LEDs delivered yet?
They're coming today. My first order of business
Okay.
is to see what their battery life is. I don't want to have a disaster on my hands.
Hmm.
Anybody doing anything about the upcoming political stuff?
I'm already scared. I'm already scared.
Well,
What's the rest of your sentence?
I'm you know, we have League of Women Voters stuff, and we have, you know, obviously not candidates or anything like that, but register to vote, those kind of posts and things. Is anybody doing anything politically related?
Well, we have a teen area, and we actually got the okay to put out a sign that was just say, are you 17 on the cusp of 18? Do you still need to register to vote? And like that was just the gist of the sign. We're obviously not. And it was clear with our policy and our directors and everything. So that's out, just kind of a passive thing if a teen wants to scan it. And then we did a post that said, hey, voter guides are here. But we didn't go much further than that. Are you thinking about a more elaborate actual post on Facebook or Instagram?
I wasn't sure. That's
Yeah.
why I was asking. Yeah.
We keep it pretty chill. We keep it pretty like, hey, the resource is here for you if you need it kind of thing.
I think we did post a QR code that took them to the, you know, the Secretary of State's vote page, where they could register to vote, find out where their precinct is, all of that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
that's about all we've done so far. Just wasn't sure how involved libraries get in that civic literacy type stuff.
Informative, right? Yeah, definitely letting people know if you live in this part of town, that's your precinct. If in case you didn't know, or did you know? Yeah, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because certainly our city hall and DDA doesn't actually do so much promoting on their own. People don't really always know where to go or where their precinct is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, us too.
Yeah. Well, everybody, I'm randomly throwing my email in the chat just in case you ever want to message me literally about anything. Literally, if you're just like, oh my God, all the LED candles got here, take a look, and you want to send me a JPEG. Let's be social. This is a community. Does anyone have any questions for the group? Anything we didn't solve? Anything that's still bugging you? Anything you want to brag about? Oh, that reminds me. I never heard back from that coffee shop trying to get us a library latte again. Library themed beverages. Reach out to your community. Kelly, if you can hear us, is it total chaos where you are? I'm wrapping up the meeting. If you have anything to add or say, if you can still hear us. Maybe not. Maybe there's such jackhammers happening and you can't even hear us. That's a thank you. Everybody, you'll get an email from Kelly soon. with information about the recording of this and our next meeting. And I hope you guys have a great Halloween and the rest of your month. Okay? Take care.
Thank you too.
Great chatting.